Now, I can honestly say, out of all the Marvel movies and all the Marvel TV shows, this is one that I look forward to the least. But is it any good? Let's talk about it. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. All right, guys, now we have Wonder Man, which is the latest superhero comic book adaptation that is available for you to stream in the convenience of your own home on Disney+. It is being described as superhero, action, adventure, comedy, fantasy, and science fiction. Now, of course, this came out January of 2026. It is a total of 8 episodes. And the great thing is all these episodes are going to be released at the same time. So you can binge this series all the way through. And it's not a long watch. Each episode is around 27 to 33 minutes. I believe the shortest episode is episode 5. And that's a short runtime of 23 minutes. And that's including credits. So if you take that away, it's only about a 20-minute episode. I say all that to say, if you want something quick and entertaining, Wonder Man is the show for you. Now, this show is being created by Destin Daniel Cretton and also Andrew Guest. These are what the gentleman looks like right here. If we scroll down at Destin's filmography, you should know him because he was the writer and director for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. He also did Just Mercy, which came out in 2019, starring Michael B. Jordan, and also Short Term 12, a film that he is most known for. Also, if we look and see what he has coming up, Spider-Man Brand New Day. He is the new director for Spider-Man 4 in the MCU. And I didn't even know if this title right here is official or not, but it looks like Shang-Chi and the Wreckage of Time, pre-production, and also Naruto. This man is very, very busy. If you are a fan of Destin Daniel Cretton, please let me know down in the comment section below. And we can't forget about Mr. Andrew Guest. Again, this is what he looks like right here. In his filmography, he did Hawkeye. He was a producer and writer on that show. Here are some other properties that he did produce. If I click writer, he wrote The Twilight Zone, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Marry Me, and Community. And if you've seen any of his other projects or are also a fan of Mr. Andrew Guest, please let me know down in that comment section below. Now, when it comes to my expectations, they were non-existent. I wouldn't say that I was dreading this show, but I definitely was not excited. I am a big Yahya Abdul-Mateen II fan. Pretty much anything that he signs up with, I am going to check out and give him the benefit of the doubt. Good looking brother right here, has a lot of confidence, or at least that's what it seems like in his interview. He's strong. I enjoyed him in Aquaman. I enjoyed him in pretty much everything that I've seen him in. I did enjoy him as Manta in Aquaman. I also enjoyed him in Watchmen. I have enjoyed this man in, like I said, pretty much all that he has been a part of. And so he was the only reason that I was really going to give this show a shot. And I have no idea who Wonder Man is. I have no idea who Simon William is, the character that he is fulfilling. But like I said, I'm a fan of his, so I was going to give the show a chance. So before I get into all the nitty gritty, before I talk about all my likes and dislikes, let me tell you exactly what this show Wonder Man is all about. Hollywood actor Simon Williams is thrust into the world of superheroes as he gets powers of his own and becomes the new superhero Wonder Man. One of the things I will say is that synopsis that I read is completely false. That is not remotely close what this show is about. Maybe on the surface when you're seeing the trailers, but when you get into the nitty gritty, this couldn't be farthest from the truth. But that is not a bad thing. It's very misleading, but it's not a bad thing. The reason why I say it's not a bad thing is if that's the reason that you're showing up for this show, okay, maybe you'll be disappointed. But if you just want to be slightly entertained and given a look, behind the scenes look on what goes on in Hollywood and the whole process from all of the shoes that need to be filled and hats worn behind a production, and also the creative process that individual actors, actresses go through to become the characters and bring those individuals to life. And this definitely is not your typical Marvel movie or Marvel show. There is not a lot of action. There is not a lot of adventure. There is not a lot of superpowers and abilities. There's a few here and there, and I'll brush up on that in just a second. But if you're going into this thinking that you're going to get a bunch of action and explosion and punches and kicks and powers and abilities, you're barking up the wrong tree. Now, out of all the Marvel movies and TV shows, the acting has never been subpar. They always deliver in that department. And that's no different in this series, but they take it up to the next level. As far as acting is concerned, I don't want to go as far as saying that this is the best in the entire MCU, but it is in that top echelon of, hey, I don't really care about all the action stuff. I just want to see a performance. I want to see somebody really dive into the character and flip them inside out. That is exactly what we get with Wonder Man, and I absolutely loved it, to be honest with you. And with all the behind-the-scenes media that Hollywood has provided to the general public over the decades, over the years, you would think you have a good sense of what goes on in Hollywood behind the scenes, and you do, but this show also does shine a different light on that. Even right before it comes down to the director saying action, how so many things can be changed on set at the last minute, and you would think that when it comes to lighting, that it could be as simple of moving a light over here or changing a light bulb, but no, there are a lot of details that goes into making a difference on set to make the production better or worse. And they go over all those details with a fine comb. It's hilarious, it's funny, it's insightful, and it also just gives you another way to look at the titular character, Simon Williams, aka Wonder Man, who is being played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. And I love this character, I really do. He loves his job, he loves his work, he's very, very passionate about it, and takes it seriously. One of the ways they did humanize this character that I do appreciate makes him more relatable is he's always doing too much, biting off more than he can chew. While he does mean well and he is a nice, caring, and loving person, and I'll touch on that in a moment, this guy is the king of shooting himself in the foot and making situations work. There's an old saying that where if it's not broke, don't fix it. And Simon is always trying to fix things. You're screaming at the screen as you're watching him, just like, dude, stop it. You're doing too much. Leave it alone. Everything is fine the way it is. If you keep on tinkering here and there, you're not going to have anything left to tinker with because you tinkered it all away. And now what? You started off with this, but now you have nothing at all. Just chill out, bro. Relax, everything is going to be okay. But he just can't help it. You love that about his character, but you hate it as well. It can be very, very frustrating, and it was, but it's also an accurate reflection on life, how sometimes we do too much and beat our own selves up because we're comparing ourselves to somebody else or do not measure to society's made up standards. He's a very confident man, but at the same time can take a few pills of believing in yourself, and that will also set him up to succeed on the highest levels. I also love the relationship that he had with his family. All families do have a level of drama, but in this particular family, it seems like they had all of that in control. Unfortunately, his father did pass away at a young age, and he had a great relationship with his father, but in present time, he's not here anymore. And we see how that has affected the family. He does have a brother. I can't remember if he was older or younger, but they are polar opposites. And I like the back and forth dynamic and banter that they had amongst each other. I have a younger brother too. And while you can be your sibling's worst critic, there's also a lot of love and empathy that goes behind all of those criticisms and ridicule. And that's also another reflection on life between family that makes these characters, again, that much more relatable and that you can attach yourself to. Also love the relationship that he had with his mother. We find out that Simon does have a Haitian background, and shout out to that community. And I loved his mother's thick accent and the unconditional love that she had for her son, Simon, no matter what. It's the same with his brother, but brothers and sisters can be mean. But at the end of the day, they love each other, they mean well, and they want the best for each other. And that's something that I do like to see on screen as well. Just makes you care about these characters even more than you already did. And Simon, he is no superhero, but he's not a punk either. He's not just going to rush in and save people in a burning building, or at least that's not the case in these 8 episodes. But at the same time, he will step up to the plate if necessary. He likes to sit back and assess the situation. I'm thinking of one particular scene to where there was action, maybe the only action scene in this whole series. And I just like the way he assessed and calculated his environment to come out on top as well. Now, when it comes to Sir Ben Kingsley, aka Trevor Slattery, aka the Mandarin, he made his MCU debut in 2013, I believe, with Iron Man 3. This is the only time I have enjoyed Trevor Slattery, aka the Mandarin, or my favorite out of the 3. I loved him in Iron Man 3 initially when I took his role seriously, thinking that he was an actual threat, an actual terrorist, but it ended up being a joke. And I was super duper turned off by that. I did get excited in the Marvel one-shot that came out maybe a year later where he's being broken out of prison. And also Destin Daniel Cretton did bring him back for a supporting role in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. The continuity worked, but I still thought that the character was stupid and a waste of screen time. Also making jokey, silly moments during battle. It was very, very annoying. That is not the case here in Wonder Man. This, again, is my favorite of Sir Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin, as Trevor Slattery. I loved his involvement. I love the continuity as well. With such a weird offshoot character, you may be saying to yourself, why is he still popping around? Why is he in this show? What is the reason? What is the point? They gave him a good reason and it makes perfect sense. And like I said, the continuity is flawless. The relationship that he also has with Simon Williams, with Wonder Man, with Yahya is perfect. First, these 2 gentlemen are polar opposites. They couldn't be more opposite, but they fit together like they came out of the same womb at birth, like they're Siamese twins, identical, all of that. The way that they bounce off of each other, exchange ideas, exchange mindsets, open up to each other about their secrets and what motivates them and gets them through the day. It was real. It was genuine. I liked it. It was very, very pure. I also like Trevor Slattery's character because he has a moral code that he lives by. He may not be perfect. He may have made some mistakes in the past, but it seems like he's trying to turn over a new leaf and do good to those that are being good to him. And that may seem okay. That's not really a big deal. You're just nice to people that are nice to you. Everybody can do that. That's not the case, but also with his character, he had no reason to do that. He is being put between a rock and a hard place and has to make a hard decision. And I like the decision he made. I respect the decision he made. I may not want to hang out with this guy on the weekends or using up my free time, but I'll buy him a drink and give him a head nod if I saw him in public. Like, hey, man, I see you. You see me, gang, recognize gang. I wish you the best. You know what I'm saying? Keep it pushing. You know, but I did like his character and I did like the relationship that he had with Simon, and his character is less goofy in this series as well. Not silly bouncing around like some random annoying drunk. Out of the 8 episodes, I will say that episode 4 is probably my least favorite. I didn't think they needed the entire runtime of the episode to tell a particular story. For this episode, I feel like they could have chopped that in half. It seemed like filler. It served a purpose, but it was just a little more than I needed for my particular taste. And at one point, I was asking myself, okay, what is the point of this series? What is the end goal? Where are they trying to end up? And it's really nowhere. All this series is you trying to get to know the characters and what motivates them, and Simon fulfilling the role of Wonder Man, of Simon Williams. And that's interesting. We know that this series is not real, that it's full of actors fulfilling roles, but we're seeing the actor behind scene fulfilling the role that he's trying to fulfill. This is very, very meta. Just imagine when Iron Man came out and in the middle of the movie, they just say cut and like, okay, I need you to do this to bring Tony Stark to life. You're seeing him play Tony Stark. And Marvel has never done that before. You're seeing the actor play the actor or playing the actor. And that's just kind of cool. And again, something that we've never seen before, which makes this series unique and entertaining. So there's not a villain. There are not any bad guys. There's not necessarily a protagonist versus an antagonist. This is a you versus you series. Can you step your game up to the next level? Can you get out of your own way? Can you be humble? Can you be disciplined enough to do what you need to do to get the job done, to take things up, like I said, to that next level in your life of success? The character Simon Williams did do that, which also makes this series a success, in my opinion. There's no superhero action. There's not a large display of powers. There are not a lot of choreographed fighting scenes with a bunch of punches, kicks, and flips and key blasts or anything like that. There is one brief action scene and maybe 2 displays of power. They are incredible. I did like it, but they are very, very, very brief. Now, when this series ended, was I excited, saying to myself, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to see Wonder Man again. It is going down. No, I did not feel that way at all. But I would be lying if I said I would not be happy, because I would the next time I see Wonder Man show up. And the reveal that we got when Simon Williams finally became Wonder Man, it was unexpected and came out of nowhere. There was no superhero landing. There was no set destruction or explosions or a bunch of flashing lights and glitter. It just kind of happened. And I was like, damn, you are Wonder Man. And I like it. And you look good in your suit, sir. While I didn't care about the character before, I am interested. I am intrigued right now. And also I'm inspired to hit the gym a bit harder than I already was. This was an unexpected show, but a nice surprise that I do recommend to anyone who is a Marvel superhero comic book fan, or just a fan of these actors doing a great job in front of the camera, acting their butts off, fulfilling the role. Great performances across the board. This does not necessarily connect heavily with the rest of the MCU, except for a few nods here and there. And I decided to say, you don't need to see any other material in the MCU to appreciate this. Things will relate more, but it's not a requirement. I will go ahead and give my rating for this at the very end of the video. But for now, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. That is just my opinion. I really do appreciate it. Please hit that subscribe button. I am almost at 60,000 subscribers, and I can cross that milestone with your help. So leave a comment that helps out the algorithm, share button, thumbs up, and hit that subscribe button. Help me reach that next milestone. And also, before I give my rating, please let me know in the comment section, are you a fan of Yahya Abdul-Mateen II or Sir Ben Kingsley? Did you like Sir Ben Kingsley's role as the Mandarin Trevor Slattery in old MCU properties? And are you a fan of Wonder Man? Do you know the character in and out? And how do you feel about the race swapping? I didn't know anything about the character, so it did not matter to me at all. If I had to rate Wonder Man out of a 1 out of 10, I would give the show a solid 8.5 out of 10. Yes, an 8.5 out of 10. But guys, thank y'all so much again for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget, I'm B. Avery. That's just my opinion. Peace. And I'll see you next time.